Aitah, because I won't tell my wife what my son, her stepson, has in savings from my late wife. It started with a question, a small, casual question that cracked open the foundation of my marriage. Why won't you just tell me how much is in his account? The words were simple. Her tone was calm, but something in her eyes told me this wasn't curiosity. It was hunger. My son, Oliver, is 15. When my late wife, Hannah, passed away 6 years ago, she left behind not just memories and photographs, but a savings account, a trust fund, meant for Oliver's future. She built it herself from her years of freelance writing and quiet discipline. She told me once, if anything happens to me, promise me you'll protect what's his. Don't let anyone touch it, not even you. I made that promise. And when she died, I kept it. The account isn't huge, but it's more than enough to give him a stable start in life. And that's all I ever wanted. When I remarried 2 years ago, to Melissa, I thought I was moving forward. She knew about Oliver. She knew about Hannah. She knew the scars I carried. But she never once asked about the money. Until last month. It started innocently enough. We were at dinner discussing college funds, bills, and the rising cost of living. Then Melissa looked at me and said, we should be transparent about everything, right? Family means no secrets. I agreed, because I believed in that too. Until she asked, so, what's in Oliver's savings? You've never told me how much your late wife left him. The air froze. I told her it wasn't her concern, that it was Oliver's money, that I didn't even check it unless necessary. Her face hardened instantly. You're keeping secrets from me, she said. How can I trust you when you don't trust me? That night, the argument spiraled. Melissa said it wasn't fair that she was raising someone else's child blindfolded. She claimed she just wanted to understand the household finances. But I knew that wasn't it. It wasn't about the household. It was about control. The more I refused, the more obsessed she became. She started bringing it up constantly, disguised as jokes, then accusations. Maybe you're saving it for yourself. Maybe Hannah left you something too, and you're hiding it. Maybe Oliver isn't as innocent as he looks. The last one. That's when I snapped. I told her to leave my son out of her mouth. She said, coldly, I'm your wife. I deserve to know everything about our life. And I said, has not our life, has my son, my responsibility, my promise. Since then, things have gotten worse. Melissa has gone through my drawers. She's asked Oliver subtle questions when I'm not around. She even asked my mother, who despises confrontation, if she knew how much Hannah had saved. My mom told me, crying, that Melissa cornered her in the kitchen during Sunday lunch. I confronted Melissa again and she just smiled. In just trying to understand the family I married into, she said. But the way she said family made my skin crawl. Last week, I caught her going through my office cabinet. She had found the folder that held Oliver's trust paperwork. She didn't take it, but she looked through it. When I walked in, she froze, then closed it slowly. I just wanted to know, she whispered. Know what? I said, if he's really more important to you than me. That sentence broke something inside me, because it wasn't about money anymore. It was about possession. That night, I packed her things and told her to stay with her sister until she could get herself together. She left without a word. 2 days later, her sister called me. Said Melissa was crying, saying I was choosing a dead woman's memory over my living wife. But that's not it. I'm choosing a promise. I'm choosing integrity. Oliver doesn't know about the arguments. I've shielded him from most of it, but has not stupid. He asked me recently, Dad, does Melissa not like me anymore? I couldn't answer. Now everyone's divided. Her family says I'm a manipulative widower still in love with my dead wife. My sister says I should have told Melissa from the beginning. That secrecy breeds suspicion, but I don't think that's true. Sometimes secrecy protects innocence. And when it comes to my son and the memory of his mother, I'd rather be hated than let greed touch what was meant for love. Am I the asshole for refusing to tell my wife what's in my son's savings account? Or am I protecting him from a betrayal that already began? Because deep down, I think she never wanted to know the number. She wanted to know if I'd break a promise. And when I didn't, she finally saw she couldn't own that part of me. Part E, the hidden will. It had been 3 months since Melissa left. 3 months of silence. 3 months of pretending the house felt lighter without her. But even in the quiet, her voice lingered. If he's really more important to you than me, those words still echoed at night. Oliver was doing better. on the surface. Had stopped asking about her, stopped avoiding the living room where most of the fights happened, but I could tell the tension had shaped him. He walked quieter now, watched my moods more carefully. He was learning that love, even in family, could be fragile. I thought we were finally healing. Then the letter came. It was official looking, stamped and folded, delivered to my door by a courier wearing a suit. I signed for it, confused, until I saw who it was from. Melissa's lawyer. The letter began with polite legal language, but halfway through, my blood ran cold. My client, Mrs. Melissa Ward, requests full financial transparency pertaining to any assets, trusts, or savings established during the marriage, as well as those held under your guardianship on behalf of your minor son, Oliver Ward. I read it twice. She was coming after Oliver's money. The same money my late wife had bled to save. The same promise I'd sworn to protect. That night, I couldn't sleep. I dug out the trust documents again, the ones Melissa had once touched with those shaking, greedy hands. I reread every line, every condition Hannah had written into it before she died. And that's when I noticed something I had somehow missed before. At the very end of the document, almost hidden, was a separate letter in Hannah's handwriting. The paper was yellowed, the ink faded slightly, but the message was clear. Alex, if you're reading this, it means I didn't make it. I know how you are, loyal, stubborn, protective. I need you to listen to me now more than ever. My chest tightened. I could almost hear her voice again, that calm, deliberate tone she always used when she wanted me to really hear her. The money I've saved, it isn't just for Oliver's future. It's insurance, protection. There's more in that account than you think, and not all of it is clean. I froze. When I was sick, I took help from someone who didn't help out of kindness. I don't have time to explain everything, but there are things about my work, about what I wrote, that got me into trouble. If anyone ever asks about the savings, if anyone pushes you, don't tell them anything. The less they know, the safer Oliver will be. I sat there in silence, reading the letter over and over. My heart was racing. Was she saying she'd taken dirty money? That the savings weren't entirely hers? It didn't make sense. Hannah was gentle, quiet, almost honest. But as I thought about it, I remembered the strange phone calls she used to get near the end. The envelopes she'd hide. The way she'd say, "It's complicated, Alex. Just trust me." Maybe I never really knew everything about her. 2 days later, Melissa called. Not to apologize. Not to talk. She wanted to negotiate. And not after your son's future, she said coldly over the phone. I just want transparency. If you've been hiding something financial, I deserve to know. We're married. Legally, it matters. I almost laughed. Melissa, the account isn't part of our marriage. It's part of his mother's legacy. His mother's legacy, she said with venom. You mean the woman who's been haunting our marriage since day one? There it was. Her real anger wasn't about money. It was about Hannah. I'm done talking about this, I said. If you want to involve lawyers, go ahead. You'll lose. She hesitated before hanging up, but not before whispering something that sent chills down my spine. You think you're the only one who knows Hannah's secrets? You're wrong. That night, I couldn't shake it. Her words, her tone, the way she said Hannah's secrets, like she knew something I didn't. So I dug deeper. I went through the old box of Hannah's things that I'd never opened after her death. Inside were drafts of stories, old USB drives, and dozens of notebooks filled with handwritten notes. At first, I thought they were fiction, unfinished manuscripts from her freelance work, but the more I read, the less sure I was. They weren't stories. They were records, names, dates, transactions, people who had paid her for silence. Hannah hadn't just been a writer. She had been a ghostwriter for people hiding crimes. She had helped powerful clients cover up scandals, falsify timelines, and polish their reputations. And someone, maybe several people, had paid her to disappear those truths. I finally understood the warning in her letter. The insurance wasn't about money. It was about leverage. The savings account wasn't just financial. It was protection money. If anyone ever learned where that money came from, Oliver's inheritance wouldn't just be taken. It could destroy everything. And somehow, Melissa knew. The next morning, a different envelope arrived. This one wasn't from a lawyer. No return address. Inside was a printed photo of me at Hannah's grave holding Oliver's hand. On the back, in handwriting I didn't recognize, were 5 words. Tell her the truth, Alex. That's when I realized This wasn't about love or even greed anymore. It was about exposure. Someone wanted Hannah's secret to surface, and Melissa might be part of it. Now I'm sitting in the dark, staring at the letter from Hannah and the photo from whoever's watching us. I've kept my promise. I haven't told anyone what's in Oliver's account, but am beginning to wonder if keeping that secret will protect him or bury him under the sins his mother left behind. Because betrayal doesn't always come from the people who want your money. Sometimes it comes from the people who already have your heart. Part E. Melissa's visit. It had been 11 days since the photo arrived. 11 nights of no sleep, every shadow in my house whispering suspicion. I changed the locks, disconnected the cameras, and even moved Oliver's room to the opposite end of the hall. Whoever sent that picture knew where I lived. They knew where Hannah was buried, and they knew exactly which secret to target. I told myself to let it go, to ignore it. But paranoia is a seed that grows even when you try to bury it. Every night I reread Hannah's hidden letter. Every morning I checked the trust account, making sure no one had touched it. I didn't want to believe someone was watching. Until the night Melissa came back. It was raining. Hard, relentless, like the sky wanted to drown the world. I heard the knock just after midnight. 3 sharp raps. When I opened the door, she stood there soaked to the bone, mascara streaked down her face. Her voice trembled. "Please," she whispered. I didn't know who else to come to. For a moment, I almost slammed the door. Then I saw it. Her hands shaking, her eyes wide with genuine fear. Something had broken her. I let her in. She sat at the edge of the couch, clutching a wet purse like a lifeline. "What happened?" I asked cautiously. She looked up at me, terrified. "I've been getting letters too," she said. "Photos, notes, someone knows about Hannah, about the money." I froze. "What do you mean knows?" She pulled out a folded piece of paper from her purse and handed it to me. Inside was a photograph, almost identical to the one I'd received. Except this time it was of her standing outside my house 2 weeks ago. On the back were the same 5 words. "Tell him the truth, Melissa." My blood ran cold. "Who sent this?" I demanded. "I don't know," she whispered. "They called me. Said if I didn't tell you everything, they'd send something to the police." "Tell me what?" Her lips trembled. And then, finally, the last thread of silence broke. "When you told me about Hannah's account," she said, "I didn't go to a lawyer first. I went to someone else. Someone who claimed they knew what Hannah did for money. A man named Keller." That name hit me like a memory I didn't want to have. Keller, Hannah's old editor. The one who stopped returning my calls after she died. "What did Keller tell you?" I asked. Melissa swallowed hard. That Hannah wasn't just a ghostwriter. She was blackmailing the people she worked for. She kept copies, files, stories, proof. He said the money in the account was hush money. My chest tightened. "So you went looking for it," I said. I wanted to understand. She snapped. "You were shutting me out. Keller said if we found those files, we could both be safe. That whoever was paying might come after us if they thought we knew." Her voice broke then. "I didn't want to hurt Oliver. I swear I didn't. I just thought if I could get ahead of it." "Melissa," I cut her off. "What did you give him?" She hesitated too long. "I told him about the trust account," she admitted. "I didn't think he'd do anything. But after that, the letters started. You told Keller about my son's money." I shouted. Tears spilled down her face. "I didn't know. He said he already knew. He said Hannah gave him a code before she died. That it was hidden inside her last manuscript." I turned away, gripping the counter until my knuckles went white. Hannah's last manuscript. The one I'd never finished reading. The one titled The Ghost Who Writes Back. That night, after Melissa fell asleep on the couch, I went to the attic and found the old box that held Hannah's final work. The papers were yellowed, smudged, but still intact. Halfway through the draft, I found a line highlighted in red ink. "A lie becomes truth when the storyteller dies." Before finishing the tale, and beneath it, in tiny handwriting only Hannah would think to hide, was a series of numbers. A bank routing code. My heart sank. The trust fund wasn't just an inheritance. It was a holding account for blackmail payments. Every time one of her clients paid her off, she deposited the money there, in Oliver's name, to make it untouchable, which meant every dollar was evidence. And Keller, the editor, must have known. At 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. An unknown number. No message. just a photo. This one showed the outside of my house again, but this time Melissa was standing at the window, asleep on the couch, unaware someone was outside. Below the photo were new words. You can't protect what's already bought. I called the police. They searched the property, found nothing. Number car, no footprints. But when I came back inside, Melissa was gone. Days passed. No calls, no messages. Just silence. Until yesterday morning, when an envelope arrived at my office. No name, no address. Inside was a flash drive and a note written in Hannah's handwriting. Except it couldn't be. She had been dead for 6 years. If you're reading this, it means the truth has found its way back home. Protect Oliver. Don't trust anyone. Not Keller, not Melissa, not even yourself. You were never supposed to know what I did. I plugged in the flash drive. Inside were dozens of files. Stories Hannah had written under fake names, each one based on a real person, each one describing crimes that had never been reported, and one folder at the bottom labeled Ward 2025. Inside was a single document. The man who promised to protect me is the one who ended everything. It was signed, Hannah Ward. My world stopped. Did she mean Keller or me? The betrayal I thought I understood suddenly twisted in on itself. Maybe the truth Hannah left behind wasn't just about her clients. Maybe it was about us. And now, whoever's been sending the photos, they want me to find out the ending she never lived to write. Because in stories like ours, betrayal isn't a moment. It's a legacy. And mine was just beginning.